The ranch that was never just a ranch. In 1988, Michael Jackson spent $35 million building a private Disneyland on 2,700 acres of California land. He named it after the island in Peter Pan, the story of a boy who never grows up. What happened inside it is still being argued in courtrooms today. The property had a zoo with elephants, a giraffe, orangutans, and Jackson's chimpanzee Bubbles. A Ferris wheel, bumper cars, a roller coaster, a 50-seat movie theater, 3 railway lines, and its own fire department. He bought the land for around $19.5 million and poured tens of millions more into it. The story he told about why it existed was always the same. He had been performing since he was 5. His father ran the family like a business and used a belt to enforce rehearsal discipline. Michael described those years not as a foundation, but as a wound. Neverland was the childhood he never lived, a place where children could visit for free and spend a day inside something that looked like a dream. That explanation made it very easy for the parents who brought their own children there to decide everything happening around them was innocent. Between 2000 and 2001, Jackson sat for a series of recorded conversations with a spiritual advisor that surfaced in documentary material as recently as 2026. In one of them, he said that if he were ever told he could never see another child again, he would kill himself because he had nothing else to live for. His own words, on tape. The question has never been whether Jackson loved children. The question has always been what that love looked like behind closed doors. The bedroom that investigators could not ignore. On November 18, 2003, 70 members of the Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office and Sheriff's Department walked into Neverland with a search warrant. Jackson was in Las Vegas shooting a music video. He was arrested 2 days later, posted a $3 million bond, and was out within the hour. The master bedroom was not a normal room. It was a 2-story structure with 3 bathrooms and a hidden secondary space above the main sleeping area, accessible only by a steep internal staircase. The hallway leading to the suite had an alarm, a set of bells that chimed whenever anyone approached. Macaulay Culkin confirmed the alarm existed when he testified on Jackson's behalf at the 2005 trial. He called it a normal privacy feature for a celebrity who attracted obsessive fans. The prosecution called it something else entirely, a warning system that gave Jackson time to stop whatever he was doing before anyone in authority could walk in. James Safechuck, one of the 2 men who later alleged abuse, described those same bells. He also described being taken to the closet inside the bedroom where multiple doors were pulled shut between them and anyone who might come looking. Safechuck described other locations across the property being used in similar ways. A secluded attic space, a teepee structure near the main house, a hidden bedroom above the arcade building. Each location in his account shared one quality. You could hear someone coming before they arrived. Behind a false wall in the master closet, locked with 3 deadlocks, investigators found a hidden room containing stuffed animals, Disney merchandise, photographs of celebrity children, adult magazines, and books with nude images of boys, some dating back to the late 1800s. Police confirmed the images did not meet the legal threshold for child pornography. But that same police report stated those materials are consistent with a grooming process used to lower a child's inhibitions. That language came from law enforcement, not from the accusers. Senior Assistant District Attorney Ron Zonin, who was part of the prosecution team, later said publicly that he identified 5 different boys who had all made allegations of sexual abuse against Jackson, and that in his view, there was not much question about what had happened. Jackson was acquitted on all charges in June 2005, but the alarm, the hidden levels, the deadlocked closet, and its contents were all photographed and documented. The acquittal tells you what could not be proven beyond reasonable doubt. It does not make the room disappear. The hard drives, the FBI, and the drugs nobody talked about. Police seized 16 computer hard drives during the 2003 raid. The FBI's computer analysis response team examined every one and found nothing. No illegal material, no relevant search history, nothing that could support a prosecution. The FBI's full files on Jackson were released in December 2009. Over 600 pages. The conclusion across all of them is the same. No evidence of criminal conduct across more than a decade of investigation. That is a significant fact. The FBI does not look the other way for famous people. If those drives had contained what the prosecution implied, Jackson would not have walked out of that courtroom. But what else was found at Neverland, kept almost entirely out of the trial by the judge, painted a very different picture of daily life inside the ranch. Deputies found a syringe, powerful narcotics, and IV bags containing what appeared to be anesthesia sitting in a box on top of the bathtub. They found a powerful pre-surgical sedative called Versed. They found evidence that Jackson had been obtaining prescription medications under the names of his own employees, using their identities to fill prescriptions meant for himself. One of his former bodyguards confirmed to detectives that he had personally collected prescriptions for Jackson under his own name on multiple occasions. None of it went before the jury. The judge kept it out. But 6 years later, Jackson died from an overdose of propofol, a hospital-grade anesthetic his personal physician had been administering to help him sleep at night. His doctor, Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in 2011 and served less than 2 years in prison. The dependency that ultimately killed Jackson was already visible inside Neverland in 2003. The jury just never got to see it. What the physical evidence at Neverland showed, taken as a whole, was not a straightforward picture in either direction. The hard drives were clean. The bedroom was not. The public image was a fantasy land. The private reality involved hospital drugs in the bathroom and a triple-locked hidden room. All of those things were true simultaneously, in the same building, owned by the same man. The trial ended. Jackson left Neverland and never came back. And then came something nobody predicted. Accusations arriving not during his lifetime, but years after his death, from two people who had spent years publicly defending him. The men who changed their stories. Wade Robson and James Safechuck were both children when they first came to Neverland. Robson was a young Australian dancer who had caught Jackson's attention as a child performer. Safechuck was a child actor who had appeared alongside Jackson in a Pepsi commercial at age 10. Both slept in Jackson's bedroom. Both told police in 1993 that nothing inappropriate had ever happened to them. Robson went further. He testified under oath during the 2005 trial that he had slept in Jackson's bedroom more than 20 times and had never been touched. That testimony helped the defense. In 2013, 4 years after Jackson died, Robson filed a lawsuit claiming Jackson had sexually abused him for 7 years, starting when he was 7 years old. In 2014, Safechuck filed his own, claiming 4 years of abuse starting at age 10. Both said they could only face what had happened after Jackson was no longer alive. That the psychological hold Jackson had maintained over them during his lifetime had made it impossible to name what they experienced as abuse while he was still in the world. The lawsuits were dismissed twice on technicality grounds related to filing deadlines. A California appeals court reinstated them in 2023. As of 2025, the case was heading toward a jury trial, meaning for the first time, a jury would hear this evidence in a civil setting where the standard of proof is lower than in a criminal trial. The 2019 documentary Leaving Neverland brought their accounts to a global audience across 4 hours on HBO. Their descriptions of the physical layout of the ranch, the bedroom alarm, the closet with multiple doors, the hidden spaces across the property, matched what investigators had documented in 2003. The documentary sparked enormous public debate, and, according to its director, a sustained and apparently coordinated campaign of harassment targeting everyone involved in making it. Jackson's estate called the film a one-sided attack. They sued HBO and won on a legal technicality. HBO had breached a non-disparagement clause from a 1992 concert contract. The film was removed from the streaming platform Max. A sequel premiered in March 2025, following Robson and Safechuck toward their civil trial. Jordan Chandler, the boy at the center of the original 1993 accusations, remained completely hidden from public life. When lawyers tried to locate him to testify, a court ordered them to stop. His father, who had first made the accusations public, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in November 2009, 5 months after Jackson. The 1994 civil settlement Jackson paid the Chandler family totaled $23 million. Jackson maintained until his death that he settled to protect his career, not because the claims were true, what Neverland became after he left it. Jackson left Neverland in 2005 and never returned. He died in June 2009 at 50. The ranch sat empty and falling apart for over a decade. The asking price in 2015 was $100 million. By 2019, it had dropped to $31 million. Nobody bought it. The location was remote, and the stigma was total. Luxury real estate brokers pointed out that ultra-wealthy buyers could find comparable land without the history attached to it. Neverland could not escape what it was associated with, no matter how many times the listing description omitted any mention of it. In December 2020, billionaire investor Ron Burkle purchased it for $22 million, an 80% collapse from the original asking price. Burkle had previously served as a business advisor to Jackson in the mid-2000s when Jackson was struggling financially. He described the property when he arrived as depressing and deteriorating. Pipes needed replacing. The train station had been damaged by woodpeckers. Roads were breaking down. He said the land just needed life put back into it and expressed hope that one of the railway lines might run again someday. In July 2024, a wildfire called the Lake Fire burned across 38,000 acres of Santa Barbara County and came within 1 mile of the property. Neverland was evacuated. The buildings survived. Weeks before that fire, a film crew had finished shooting there. The Michael Jackson biopic, directed by Antoine Fuqua, starring Jackson's nephew Jafar in the lead role, had used Neverland as its primary filming location, restoring parts of the property cosmetically to recreate how it looked during Jackson's years of residence. Miles Teller, who plays Jackson's longtime entertainment lawyer John Branca in the film, confirmed the shoot had taken place there and described the experience as genuinely strange. Dan Reed, who directed Leaving Neverland, called the decision to film a sympathetic biopic at that specific property a return to the scene of the crime in order to rewrite history. He had read an early version of the script and said the estate conceived the film as a direct rebuttal to the abuse allegations, a big-budget counter-narrative backed by the same people managing Jackson's commercial interests. The biopic required reshoots in 2025 after it emerged that a legal agreement with Jordan Chandler prevented his story from being dramatized on screen. Scenes had been filmed that violated that agreement. They had to be cut. The film was scheduled for release in October 2025. Outside the gate in Los Olivos, fans had written chalk messages on the property walls. "You are not alone," read one. A line from one of Jackson's own songs. The gold signage was long gone. The name on the gate had changed, but nobody who drove up to that property needed a sign to know what it was. What the story actually is. Nobody outside that bedroom knows with certainty what happened inside it. A jury acquitted Jackson in 2005. The FBI found nothing criminal on his hard drives. Several people who spent time at Neverland as children maintained their entire lives that nothing inappropriate happened. Those facts matter. At the same time, the corridor alarm was confirmed by a defense witness. The hidden closet with 3 deadlocks was real and documented. The police report described its contents as consistent with grooming methodology, language from law enforcement, not from accusers. What is not in dispute is the basic outline. A boy described abuse in 1993. A $23 million settlement followed. A second boy described abuse in 2003. A criminal trial ended in acquittal. 2 men who defended Jackson under oath for years reversed course after his death, and courts have now cleared their lawsuits to go before a jury. What Neverland actually was, a wounded man reclaiming a stolen childhood, a carefully built environment designed to access children, or both at once, is a question the law has not fully resolved. What is not speculation is this. A property named after a place where children never grow up was searched by 70 officers, produced materials police called grooming tools, sat at the center of 2 rounds of criminal and civil proceedings, sold for a fraction of its value, nearly burned down, was filmed in by the estate currently fighting abuse lawsuits, and still has fans writing love notes on its walls in 2025. Michael Jackson built Neverland to look like a fantasy. Whether the fantasy was the cover story or the whole truth is what a courtroom may finally have to answer. If you enjoyed this video essay, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.